Good morning. Hope you're having a great week. Welcome to Wednesday in the Word. We're in Numbers chapter 16, verses 20 and 21 this morning. And I share a message with you about mercy. Leadership is tough, whether you're leading a family, a government, an office, a church. And let me say this very quickly. The scriptures teach us that a spiritual leader is to be appreciated and loved by those whom God has put into their care. But that's not the case that we find in Numbers chapter 16. Remember, leaders often never asked for the job. God called them to the job. And leaders also face stresses that, people who sit out in the pews sometimes never understand. So leaders ought to be appreciated, prayed for, cared for by those whom they lead. In Numbers 16, as Israel wandered across the desert on their way to their home in the Promised Land, we find an event where a rebellion had occurred. And God spoke to Moses and Aaron in verse 20. The Lord spoke to them, and he said, "Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment." Then they fell on their faces, that is, Aaron and Moses fell on their faces, and said, "O God, this God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and you be angry with all the congregation?" Well, Korah had decided as a member of the tribe of Levi that he needed to be the boss. He needed to be the leader. God hadn't called him to it. God hadn't put him in that place, but he coveted that place of leadership. Because of that, he stirred up the people against Moses. They had been very evil and very hurtful toward him. They decided that Moses wasn't the leader that they needed. Their murmuring hurt him. Their words stung him. Their actions, they hurt him. But their actions showed that they were neither the holy people nor were they spiritually fit to lead anyone, because they were in rebellion against God. I want you to notice a couple of things here. Notice how displeased God is that people would turn against that one and those men that were supposed to be leading them. He's not pleased with us when we fight his leadership. The second thing is, notice the test that God puts out there for Moses, not only to see what kind of man Moses was, but to show us what kind of leaders we ought to be. Moses, you stand aside, and I'll take these people out. I'll consume them in a moment. And Moses fell on his knees before God, a man who had been forgiven so much in his life. Moses fell on his knees and begged God to spare the children of Israel. You see, he passed the test of spiritual leadership. Moses recognized his own failures. He had received God's mercy on numerous occasions. And now, even though these people had hurt him, he would not stand by without pleading for their souls and their lives. Jesus said, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." We all cry out for mercy ourselves. And praise God, he forgives us of all of our sin when we cry out. And we in the same way should pray for those who sin and hurt us, that they might be forgiven, that they might recognize the love of God, the mercy of God in their lives, and be turned back to him. I pray that God would use this word of mercy to encourage you in your walk with him this week. God bless you.